Hello, welcome. Carrots here. Welcome to episode 38 of Generation 1 of the Perfect Genetics Challenge. It's autumn or fall at the moment. Now, Chaz has gone to the performance park to try to get a gig lined up. Gary got one, but he didn't actually remember to turn up for it. So he's now got to wait a while before he can organise a second attempt at having a gig. So we'll make sure that Chaz gets to the performance park in plenty of time to do his gig when the proprietor gives him one. He's doing a little audition for it at this point. He's been successful. He's got his gig and it's on the next day at 7:30 p.m. He's happy about that, isn't he? He just spun into his acrobat outfit. So this is a new outfit. We haven't seen him in this one before, I don't think. He's doing a bit of performing for tips, just to get some more experience behind him before he does the gig. I was interested to see if he would be able to perform for tips on the lot of the performance park, and it seems he can. He's been lucky and got himself an audience. Only problem, of course, for us is they're blocking our view. I don't think I've seen him throwing fire around before. He's getting pretty good at it. The bottle he's put on the ground to collect tips is just near the feet of the sim that's in the audience and closest to us. So there's an alien there now. So that might be it. We won't watch any more of this little performance. We've got other things to see and do. We'll leave Chaz having fun at the park and getting more experience so he gets better at all of his tricks, and he might even learn some new tricks. Back at home, Olivia is still working on her science skill. I wonder what fun and games are going to happen when she gets that group science project and we get the green flame going. I'm looking forward to it to see what happens. It could be quite unexpected. Gary wanted to improve his painting skills, so I set him to work painting. And as you can see in the distance, Olivia's got her group science project, and there it is in action inside that building with all the archways around it. Gary's out there without a shirt, and it's in the middle of autumn. It's cold. It's just getting to the time where they're going to need their outdoor outfits to stay warm. He's going to leave his painting for the moment while little Max ages up to toddler. So Max has completed all of his toddler skills and he's read all 9 toddler books. We've seen a lot of toddler training in the past in this series, so I didn't show us very much of him learning to walk, talk, potty and read 9 books. He didn't go into the playpen, so he's not learned any charisma or logic or handiness skills from being in the walker either. So there go the candles. There's all blown out. But he didn't want his birthday. He's crying. Poor little Max. He didn't get to be a toddler for very long, but that's okay. We want him aged up. We don't want toddlers. We're waiting to get them all out of here so Cindy can start having her family. And she's still got to age up to young adult yet. She's still a teen. That's her in the front at the right-hand side. So Max is now aged up and grown up. Time for a new trait. He seems to like the outdoors, so I thought I'd make him an angler because we don't actually have any Sims with the angler trait, I don't think, in this household at the moment. There's 19 Sims since little Bart became real. And now Max and Mary, the 2 toddler children, have still got to make their imaginary friends real. Bart is the imaginary friend made real of Martin. He's the eldest alien child in this household. Don got pregnant 3 times from an alien abduction. Never had that happen to a sim of mine before. I've had multiple male sims each have babies, but not a single sim have 3. While everybody was inside eating cake from Max's birthday, Prue decided to ask Don to teach her to drive. So they set off for their driving lessons. I'd been wondering why there were so few Sims at Matt's party. I discovered these pair were way off near the school still doing their homework, and it was getting dark. And the others were out front, so they must have just got home as well. Later that night, when everyone was asleep inside, their yard was invaded by Townies. Now, this is where the fun and games begin. This is the first night since we've had the green flame going in the group science project. And I happened to look outside and I saw all of these Townies in their backyard using their equipment. There's someone playing guitar and someone bouncing on a trampoline. None of these Sims live in this household. They've all invaded while the others are inside asleep. And I think that green flame is what has made this happen. I'm obviously going to have to enclose the entire yard in a fence and lock the gates if I want to keep all these townies out. Because I'd like to keep the green flame going, and if these townies start playing with it, who knows what's going to happen. They did all seem to be having a wonderful, happy time, but it was so cold out. That's frost on the ground, and they don't seem to be very warmly dressed. Maybe fairies don't feel the cold. They might even have their loves the cold lifetime reward. Who knows? I've never played any of them. I've just ignored them. Looks like there's a unicorn present. There's a unicorn cloud in the sky. Oh, look. This is another townie. He's off in that creek that's just outside the front of the house. And that water is almost frozen. It's icy, and he is just jumping up and down and splashing in it. Look, you can see how close it is to the house. That's the house in the distance. It's just across the road. This is where I send them fishing sometimes. I don't think he's a werewolf, and I have seen him around. And here is the unicorn, not very far from where that idiot Sim is splashing in the icy water. We got a white unicorn today. I like it when we have the white unicorn. It's easier to see in the dark when I'm making a video. You can always find the unicorn at night because it has that cloud in the sky that comes all the way down to the ground and follows the unicorn around. It's enjoying a little chat with the other wild horses. Oh, that's not a very happy chat. Just pawed the ground. Is that plant that came up behind him? Or her? Not sure if it's a he or a she. It's just a unicorn. Must be getting close to morning. The unicorn's only here at night. That's why I like it when it's a white unicorn, because at night time it's hard to see the black unicorns on the videos. Oh, there he goes. Must be getting too close to dawn. The sun will be up soon. Unicorn's gone. Bye-bye, Mr. Unicorn. Let's go back to the household. See what's going on with all those townies while we've been away. Look at the frosty pond. It's got ice coming around the edges. Looks like we've got a witch playing with magic. I think it might be one of the Crumplebottom sisters, but I'm not sure. And who, I wonder, is that poor unfortunate Sim that she's turned into an ice sculpture and is now melting away. I've never done that with a Sim. I don't know what happens. To try to find out who it is. So I've got a couple of fairies standing near the pool having a chat, and they are being joined by another fairy. And that poor ice sculpture is still melting. Little Bindy's there. He's not bothered by any of the goings-on with all these townies. He's been eating his breakfast. Lots of magic play going on there. I wonder how powerful she is. She's had enough. She's tired. Maybe she should go home, but she's probably got to go to work now. She's been playing all night. They're all tired, I think. They've all been out misbehaving in this yard all night without permission. Hey, what happened? That is Sophie Rogers' mother. I've forgotten her first name, but she's a fairy, I think. She's all icy and cold. I'm pleased she survived. I'd have hated to have thought that she would have melted all the way and we'd lost a Sim. I'm sure she didn't do anything to deserve that. She doesn't seem to have wings. Maybe she's not a fairy. I don't know. But she's got all snowy, icy stuff floating around her. She's freezing. Hopefully she'll warm up soon. I noticed little Bart. He ran outside in his ordinary clothes in the previous day, and I got a message saying that if he didn't warm up soon, the social worker would come and take all of the children away. And I thought, well, that better not happen, so I raced him back inside real fast. There's a ghost, but she's a resident. You see her around quite a lot. Looks like there's a birthday cake on the table, waiting for somebody to have a birthday. Hope all these townies go home soon. The sun's on the way up. You can see that green flame. We've got to go and find some things to sell because we haven't got enough simoleons to put all of the windows into that glass house that I'm making for the group science project. And I noticed a whole lot of them suddenly went to work as attendants at the festival grounds. That's a witch going to work. I didn't actually film all of them, but here is an interesting sim that I found at the festival grounds, and there's Don turning up. He's come to pick wildflowers because there's quite a lot of wildflowers growing here, and wildflowers can be a good way of earning money fast, and they need a lot of simoleons to put the windows in the new building. This is the fall festival at the festival grounds. So we'll leave Don picking flowers. There's a heap of flowers on the other side as well. I'll send some other Sims off to try to collect other ways of raising simoleons fast. So Olivia has come to the Stone's Throw greenhouse lot. She's collecting the suns that are created by those dancing sunflowers. When we turn the music on, the Sims will dance with those sunflowers. She can get 100 simoleons for each of those suns that she picks up, provided she sells them quickly. They do lose their value quite fast. Eventually they just vanish and you get nothing for them, so you've got to sell them. Same with the wildflowers that Don's picking. We have to sell them before midnight or they will reduce in value. Or quite often you can find minor pets here at the greenhouse. Sometimes you pick up a death flower. So there's more of the Townies ready to leave. The school bus will be coming soon, I think, if it's a school bus day. I'm not sure what day of the week it is. Ice cream truck's not going anywhere fast. You could reset it and it would vanish, but it'd come straight back. There's one townie heading off. Looks like there's a mass exodus of teens and children. Some of them look like they're not very well rested. Oh, I know what they're doing. They're going to the graduation because Bill aged up at the end of the last episode and he now needs to graduate. Another townie heading off, Fairy heading off on her bicycle. See, they're all done up in their best clothes, so they're heading to City Hall for the graduation ceremony. Bill is a Sim that I made in Create a Sim, and he is going to be married to Cindy, and they are going to be the Sims that make the second generation of children until Cindy has an heir with the pink hair and eyes, or purple hair and eyes, that Cindy inherited from her mother. Olivia was the founder, and each heir must have the same coloured hair and eyes. Still a few townies hanging around. It's going to be hard to get them all off the lot when I try to put the fence up. We don't have enough simoleons for the fence yet. Now, the City Hall is just across the road from the festival grounds. So there they are. They've all just popped out of the taxi in one fell swoop. And there's Bill walking towards the door of the City Hall, but he's not in graduation outfit. So I'm wondering what's going on. And I happen to know, and I'm not going to show you the whole long wait. The wait went on for maybe 5 or 10 minutes in real life time. He just stood there waiting. And I worked out that he was waiting for other graduates. But at no stage did he ever get into his graduation outfit. He just went in dressed as he is. So I was very worried that maybe he didn't graduate. Eventually everybody started to file into the City Hall. Bill went in first, of course, and I was still concerned because he wasn't in his graduation robes. And I was worried, what was I going to do with a Sim who should have graduated but didn't and had no diploma in his inventory? Would that matter? Would it make any difference to the game? It was all a bit of a worry. Another thing that I found was the little aliens have not yet been taken into Create a Sim or into Stylist to get the child clothes. So I'm going to have to tend to that shortly. At least none of them seem to have the coward trait because that ghost is hanging out there with them all this time and nobody's fainted yet. A coward can usually detect a ghost anywhere near them and faint. There goes little Bart. He's been into Create a Sim. He got a new skin. The aliens are not going to get a new skin. They've got alien everything. They got 100% alien DNA. That's James going in, and then Petal is the last one to go in. She's Olivia's child because Olivia, for some reason, a Sim who doesn't like children, wanted a plant Sim child. I have no idea why, but she got one. So here they are, they've emerged, and that's the only reaction Bill gave to his graduation. Pumped the air with his fist. And that was it. At this point, I'm still wondering, does he have a graduation diploma in his inventory? I checked, and he did have one. So he has graduated, he just doesn't appear to have. So he's not in graduation robes, and he's not throwing his diploma around or doing anything that they usually do. This has been a different graduation. As usual, everybody hung around outside the door and blocked the way out. And then I decided to send them all home. Except when I got that idea, I discovered they were all sitting, or not all, but I discovered there was a few of them were sitting on the grass there beside the path, having a ghost story told to them. But the ones that weren't listening to the ghost story, it looks like Martin's telling the ghost story. The ones who weren't sitting on the grass listening to it went home. And then the rest of them eventually found their way home. Olivia spent so much time working on the science machine to get to level 10 in the science skill that now she doesn't want to leave it alone. She keeps coming up with new wishes to to do various things with the machine. She's trying to analyse a scientific sample at the moment. Not sure what that was supposed to achieve, but it satisfied a wish and she got a few lifetime happiness points for doing it. I just hope she doesn't start autonomously running around taking DNA samples from various Sims, because if she starts doing that, I know that I will just have to make her clone one of them, and that'll give us even more Sims in this household. Not a good idea, I think. Max's imaginary friend wanted to come out and play, so I took it out of his inventory and put it on the grass just near where he was sitting playing in the sand pit. And the imaginary friend suddenly became alive. It's not real yet. We can only see it when Max is the active sim. If he wants it to become real, and I know he does, he's going to have to start working on finding potions on the chemistry table, just like his sister Mary has been doing. Although Mary's really only his half-sister, because although Martin and Mary have the same mother and the same father, Max has a different mother, but his father is still Don, because Don just got abducted so many times. He wasn't always with the same alien. He's got no say in the matter. He just gets taken. And I see the Townies have come back again tonight. They're running towards the group science project again. It's time for Chaz to do his gig, but he's got other things on his mind, things like engagements. So now we're going to see a little bit of Chaz doing his gig as an acrobat. This is his first gig ever. I don't think he knows very many tricks, so we won't watch it for very long, but we will see him go through his paces. Oh, look at that, bend backwards. He's got very supple. He's obviously been training for this for a very long time, but I don't know how, because he's mostly just been a little doll sitting in Gary's pocket. Oh, and he's standing on one hand. He's been training for a long time to do this. I know he's always wanted to be an acrobat. It's been his lifetime wish ever since he was made real. So here's another one of the imaginary friends. He's Gary's imaginary friend, and Gary was the firstborn of Don and Olivia's children. They were really hoping for a sim. They were really hoping for a baby that had the purple hair and eyes of Olivia, but they had to have 4 babies before they got their heir. I wonder how many it will take for Cindy and Bill before they get their heir. Trying a bit of juggling. At least he's got an audience. Back at home, one of the Townies is chatting with Mary in the little outdoor eating area that they've got set up. And her imaginary friend is there waiting to play with her. Max is still out in the sand pit talking to his imaginary friend. They've got to get to know each other, and then they'll become really good friends eventually, I hope. Little Bart, he just came down out of the treehouse, and there's Martin heading up. There's a ladder going up and they can slide down a slide. Looks like Bart's going to the other slide now. He's going to have a proper slide. And little Max is still chatting to his imaginary friend, but he's not the active sim, so we can't see the imaginary friend. But he is getting friendship above his head, little bubbles above his head, indicating he is making progress. They are becoming friends. Now we've made Max active again so we can see the imaginary friend. Hasn't gone anywhere, it was just not visible for a while. It's probably getting really late and those children should be in bed asleep. I'll have to do something about that. Looks like there's lots of Townies out again tonight, but we don't have time to worry about Townies. We've got birthdays to have, so we're going to skip ahead a bit. You saw all the Townies that were there last night. That'll do for now. But you do notice we've managed to get enough simoleons from selling things to put windows all the way up in that building with the green flame. On the other side of the yard, near the birthday table, Mary's imaginary friend is trying to get her to play catch, but she doesn't seem very interested. I think she's just too hungry to play tag at the moment. Somehow I missed the alien abduction, but we did see Prue being delivered back home again by that alien. Haven't had many alien abductions for a while, probably because I found a pile of space rocks in their basement when I fixed it up recently and I sold them, so the aliens don't come quite so often as they used to, thank goodness. Speaking of aliens, little Mary's gone down to the basement, working on finding a potion for her imaginary friend to turn real. Time for James and his imaginary friend Prue to have their birthdays. They're both going to become young adults. Prue still doesn't have many skills, but there she is on the left, celebrating her owner's birthday as he blows out his candles to become a young adult. I've got a little lady waiting for him in another world. I'll introduce them as soon as I can, which will be after some of these Sims have already moved out. I've just got to decide who should move out first. Should it be Gary or should it be James? Gary's the eldest son of the household and James is the second eldest. James is the only one to inherit his mother's skin colour, which is a pale blue, and he got his very own black hair. Everybody else got Don's hair except for the heir Cindy, and she got her mother's hair. There is James, he's now a young adult. Try to give him a trait that his future wife has got. She's a very pretty little Sim. Bit on the chubby side, but she's all curvy and nice. We're not going to see her in this episode. I'll try to get James to call everybody to the meal. If he does that, no, it's not going to work. He's got a piece of cake already. I was hoping we might be able to get a piece of cake for everybody, but he's ignored my wishes. There's that blonde bloke picking up a bit of cake. He's got to be a townie. There's townies everywhere there at the moment. When time we need to have somebody give out the cake, we're only going to get 8 of the Sims who on the lot get a piece, and at least 3 of them that have picked up a piece of cake have been townies. Prue got a piece. There's probably only about 1 more piece left, and it's going to go to another townie. There it is, last one. Look who missed out. Just about everybody. Next, it's Prue's birthday. We're not going to waste any time. There's still Sims standing around the table. They're the ones that missed out on getting a piece of James's cake. And of course, Prue is James's imaginary friend turned real. So she's going to have her birthday now. When Bill aged up, he didn't have an imaginary friend, so he aged up on his own, and that's why he graduated on his own as well. Everybody's gathering round. James hasn't been into stylist yet, but I will take him into stylist. What he's wearing is what he got from the game when he aged up. So Prue's blown out her candles, and now she's going to turn into a young adult. We'll see if we can get her to distribute cake to everybody. There she goes. Prue's now a young adult. She's no longer a teen, and she's going to have to go into stylist as well, because she just needs to look good. I think she'll get new hair, and I might keep that pink top, because I wouldn't have given it to her myself, but it's not too bad, so we might keep it. The green skirt's going to go though. Well, she ran off with a single piece of cake, but I was able to get Pat to distribute the rest of the cake around all of the tables. This means everybody is going to get a piece of cake this time. We've got a few sinks that have passed their use-by date. I'm sure those gnomes are breaking the sinks, but some of them just can't be repaired now, so I'll be replacing a few of the sinks. There's so many townies on the lot that didn't turn up for the party. I'm not too sure if they're going to get cake or not. We'll see what happens. Pat is the imaginary friend turned real from belonging to Percy, who was the youngest of Don and Olivia's children. He was actually younger than Cindy, because Cindy is the heir, and they didn't need to have any more babies after Cindy, but Don wanted another one, so Olivia had one with him just because he wanted an extra. So we've got 2 imaginary friends and an alien sitting at this table. Looks like Bobby's going to sit there as well. That'll make 3 imaginary friends and an alien. Bobby is Cindy's imaginary friend made real. Now, Chaz has been having wishes relating to Prue for a while, and I'm in a hurry to get them married and out of this house. So I decided to waste no time in encouraging their relationship to blossom. So later that evening, the same evening when she aged up to young adult, I arranged for them to have a meeting in the garden, just the 2 of them, if possible. There could be a few townies around. I am getting that fence built gradually. So they stood there near the trampoline that Prue had been bouncing on just a few minutes earlier, and they spent some time reacquainting themselves before they decided to go on a date together. But their idea of a date seemed to be just standing beside the trampoline chatting. They do seem to enjoy each other's company, and when they were both teens, they became romantic interests all by themselves without any assistance from me. So things should go smoothly, I hope. But their idea of a date appeared to be to just stand beside the trampoline and continue chatting. I did eventually encourage them to watch the stars together though, and they did that, and that was quite successful. They enjoyed sitting close together and observing the stars and pointing interesting things out to each other and talking about them. It was all going very nicely, but there just had to be more. There was places they could go, and so I told them that they really just had to get off the property. They went to the roller coaster, but they didn't go for a ride. There's restaurants and dance floors and things, other sorts of nighttime activities at that green roller coaster lot. So that's where we're going to go now. So off they went in a taxi. If this had been a real life date, I strongly suspect they would have walked to it, because you can see it from where they were standing. It's just in the next block. So here they are, they've arrived at the roller coaster lot, and they're standing there wondering what to do. Prue decided she wanted to go upstairs and dance, and Chaz obviously decided he wanted to do something to do with water sports, but he changed into his swimwear. However, if he wanted to do it with Prue, he had to go up to the dance floor, and they did a little bit of slow dancing together. He stayed in his swimwear for the rest of the evening, though. Doesn't really matter. This is the Green Fun Park. It is in my studio on the Exchange if anybody wants to download it. It's got 3 roller coasters and lots of other interesting things for Sims to do. So they haven't been dancing before, so I think she's standing on his bare toes. He'd be better off if he had a pair of boots on, I think, to protect his toes. There's a professional bar just next to the dance floor, and when they'd had enough slow dancing and the hunger got the better of them, Prue went over and ordered a group serving of fish and chips. The fish and chips is kept under the bar, so it wasn't a long wait for it to get cooked. So it was quickly served, and then Prue invited Chaz to come and share the meal with her. He was happy to do that, and they sat down together at one of the tables that were placed close to the bar and the dance floor. They ate their meal quite quickly, enjoying every mouthful, and then they went home. But that wasn't to be the end of their evening together. There was just enough time for them to get a romantic photo together. I wonder if I'll be able to get them married in the next episode. That's the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet and would like to know when the next video is posted. Bye bye for now, and happy simming.